Hey guys, so in this vlog, I'm going to go over a series of questions that I got from somebody on Instagram. And for whatever reasons, they caught me at a good time, so I was able to read the question and answer. So what this is going to illustrate is how using my foundational skills, which were accrued over 269 years of my life, allowed me to solve this guy's problem, even though I never worked with the systems he's talking about. So let's get into it and you'll understand. I am sending this message to ask a programming question. I am trying to make some programs over the summer and having trouble finding any resources to tell me how to do the task. I will spare you the details, but the program, when given input from a browser, should send the data to a server VPS that runs that data through a cache such as Maxima command line and then sends the output Maxima gives back. Sounds simple, I know, but my friend who have taken backend courses say they don't know how, and I know nothing about backend programming and don't know if I will be able to make this happen. I'm paraphrasing, of course. If I just take a course where I learn how to do this, if you could point me in the right direction to where or what I would have to do to learn to make this work, it would be helpful. I'm changing his sentence structure a little bit. So I write back, you can collect any user input via HTML5 and use any server-side language to process the data. Could be Node.js, could be PHP, Python, what have you. Then you have to see how CAS can accept data. Can it read a text file? And he's like, okay. Then I continue. If the CAS can read a text file, you can have the server-side language process the HTML forms, then store the data in a text file. Then you could run a cron. A cron is a server process that runs on a schedule. In the Windows world, it's called scheduled tasks. In the Unix world, it's called cron. Anyway, to activate the code, that cron would have, to activate the code, that would have the CAS consume the data. So basically, you input the data via forms, you store the data in a text file, and then you would have a task that would look for this text file, and then it would process the data so that the CAS can consume it. So I continue. I have not worked with a CAS, so this is basic architecture. Lots of software is made up of multiple languages. StudioWeb itself uses 3 languages and various engines. So I just mentioned that to him to show him that in software development, it's not about one language typically. That's one of the reasons why when people get caught up in the language, it's got to be Python, it's got to be PHP, it's got to be JavaScript, whatever, Java, whatever, C#, whatever. These languages all have their place, and I always tell you, it's the job. So, and in many applications, you're going to be using multiple languages anyway. He goes, thank you very much. What if I can't read a text file? Find out how CAS accepts data. That's my first statement. Find out how it accepts data. That's the key. He goes, okay. And then I continue. You might be able to automate shell commands to control the CAS. Again, just guessing since I have not used CAS. So in the end, he writes back to me several days later. Hey, Stefan, your advice was very helpful. I've since been able to make the program I wanted. Thank you. And I just wanted to ask him, I said, this is a classic example of how useful understanding foundations can be. This would make a good video. Do you mind if I use this back and forth? Your identity is hidden, it seems. And he goes, sure. When people send me emails or DM me questions and so forth, I do not reveal identities. Sometimes I get some good vlog ideas out of them, but I always ask permission, so don't worry. If you do send me a question, there's no expectations that I'm going to use your name out there. Nonetheless, sometimes I do, and I ask permission, and a lot of people are nice enough to do that. So once again, this is a classic example where I don't know what a CAS system was, never used one, nonetheless, I just applied basic principles, foundational principles of thinking about coding, and whiz bang, Bob's your uncle. He was able to find the solution. At the end of the day, when it comes to business app creation, which is, I would imagine, is 95% of software development these days. I don't have an exact stat, but it's somewhere around there. Anyhow, when it comes to most coding, what you're typically doing is playing or manipulating three types of information: text, ints, and date information. Really, that's most of it. Yeah, there's other types, of course, but most of the time you're going to be playing with a lot of text, you're going to be playing with a lot of ints, and you're going to be playing with dates. And that's it. That's it. Like the web, for example, which is a lot of work out there, is web development. It's all about string data types, which is text. You're just pulling in string data through forms. If you want to calculate some numbers, then you might have to transform some string data that was entered into forms, because when you enter information into forms, it's just captured as strings, right? This is getting into some nerdy stuff here. And then, just above beginner level programming. Anyway, so once you get that your head wrapped around that concept, you're just moving data from point A to point B. Data types are typically strings, which are text, ints, which are integers, numbers, or date information. That's pretty much it. So you're moving those three types of information from point A to point B, and then you're going to be massaging that information. Sometimes you'll stick it in databases. You're probably going to have to validate it at some point. You may have to do some date calculations every now and then to keep track of things. And that's pretty much it. And then the architecture around all this is a big part of the complexity. That's why when people talk about algorithm type of training and courses, that's very specialized. That's very specialized. It's like, yeah, you see that you do that for AI programming and stuff, ML, but for most business programming, it never comes in. The hard part is the architecture, everything around it. It's the UX. It's the data storage strategy, that kind of stuff. It's not minutia and algorithms. So there you go. I hope you found this video useful. Bye-bye.